So we should probably get into this. So greetings everyone, and welcome back to another Fleet Network competition where we are in the European finals, and we have, as you can see on our screen, Team 1 is Sons of Adel Walsh, and Team 2 is WASA. And this evening we have a very special guest, the supreme tea sipper that is Mr. Final Boss. How are you doing, good sir?
Hello, thank you for having me. Yeah, we have an interesting game ahead of us for the EU finals. We can already see the rosters beginning to line up, and there's some interesting names out there on play today.
Yeah, like I've not been able to stream that much this Ocean Cup, but honestly, everything seems to be an upset. Pain, like not painkillers, Pain were knocked out early, Salty were knocked out early, CRD were knocked out early, the Hull Crushers are still in, and WASA, and like that's like the top 5 teams you'd look at, and 3 of the top 5 teams gone like quite early, which I thought was
we've had a pretty big shake-up this year, predominantly due to the format of the cup, putting a lot of good teams against each other early on. But I mean, we're seeing the lineup now. I'm looking at what ships they're picking, and you know, we're seeing the double Delaware.
Oh, did we just lose Mr. Boss? I need to.
Oh,
hello. Yeah, you're back. You kind of.
you got me.
You kind of faded to black for a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the expected lineup. Both teams appear to have a pretty good grasp on the map they're running, and we're seeing similar ship picks. Like, both teams have a Donskoy, both have a Lucian, both have a Smoland, both have a Delaware. So, I think we're going to see 2 pretty big like clashes head-to-head here, and maybe a similar kind of strategy on both sides.
Yeah. Now, I'm like, if you were a betting man, I think you'd have to put the bet on WASA to win this. But honestly, like, I've watched most of SOA's games. They've come out of absolutely nowhere. They played in the German leagues, and I only know this because I've chatted to them since. But they played in the German leagues and very, very quietly came over to the Fleet Network, and they've just been dominating everyone they've played against so far. So it's kind of weird. It's like you kind of want to bet on WASA if you're going to bet, but like you definitely don't want to be sleeping on SOA. I think this is going to be real close.
I think given the history of the TFN, the sensible pick would always, of course, be the defending champions. But as you're saying, this cup has had a peculiar layout in terms of a lot of big teams have been knocked out early. So we're seeing lineups now that we may not have historically saw, and teams playing against other teams that they may not have normally encountered, and it's shaken up a lot of things, because when you're playing against the same people over and over again, you begin to learn how their players are, what they prefer, you know, and you can kind of work around that. But when you're encountering teams for the first time, or a whole new team, you really are kind of gorging in the dark here, and you're trying to understand very quickly in the battle what's happening. I mean, we're seeing the gameplay folding out right now, and we're seeing the Suns are kind of playing it careful. They're putting their battleships down in anchor points with good fire coverage. They're putting their radar cruisers, as expected, near the islands with good radar coverage over some of these caps to scare away the DDs.
Let me flip to the other screen, because I was watching. Cracker's perspective.
They can see the Duncan, but he's holding a shot. He really doesn't he doesn't want to expose himself here and maybe take a Duncan salvo. Especially given that he is that radar anchor on sea, which I'm surprised we haven't seen him pop it yet. He's probably coordinating with his allied destroyer there, but there he goes.
There he was looking. Yep. He was waiting for it.
And now he's opening fire, running the risk of getting hit from the Duncan. But I think they're going to try and get the Smoland out early game here, which will be huge for capping that flank.
Yeah, like watching SOA, they genuinely they seem to play fairly passive until they know they're in a good spot, and when they know they're in a good spot, their coordination together as a team is.
Question is this Tulsa going to get away with hurting their destroyer that much and not swallowing a Duncan salvo? I'm surprised to see.
His Cranky's not even firing at him. Is that the SOA DD being spotted? If he fired at the DD, you could understand, but if he's just taking shots at the battleship, I forget which battleship was there. I think it was the Delaware. That's
Well, of
almost
course,
inexcusable.
Duncan still has his first heal, which I think, yeah, he's activating it right now, so we're going to see him crawling that HP back up, just to kind of bring the survivability up. But we are seeing WASA on the backdrop already. Their Duncan's having to turn around and take kind of an evasive stance. Their destroyer's been pushed out of sea because ultimately the Sun's Tulsa had better radar coverage over sea than the Warfare at Sea cruiser did, because the island was further back on their side. But we're also seeing a lot of action happening over on A. And we might see another radar battle occur over on A very soon.
Yeah, so that's Cranky down a heel and 30k hit points already. He's scored 19,000 in return, but that's not a great exchange.
No, but he's gone dark, and he has a good angle on the Delaware.
And the Tulsa completely got away with that.
Yeah, the Tulsa got away unpunished and is still full health. And again, he gets radar in 40 seconds, and he can still contest that sea cap. So,
and SOA are now taking advantage of that and taking the sea. And caps are so big early on. Like I said, I've watching SOA play. Unfortunately, I haven't seen many WASA games this time round, because of like real life things to deal with. But SOA have been very dominant with capturing points very early in the game, and it makes it very hard to attack them.
Well, in this point, they're playing it by the book. I mean, their Tulsa has, he's playing it super safe. All he cares about is maintaining radar coverage over sea, so that he can defend his destroyer, and all his destroyer cares about is defending sea. And just spotting anything on that side. So they've already taken this very kind of anchor-heavy defensive stance, where Warfare at Sea will now have to maybe try and go dark, use the concealment to reposition and get a better angle to see if they can push them back out, or at least make them a little bit uncomfortable. We might see Warfare at Sea try and switch A, just to quickly get a cap on their point as well, and neutralize this.
That's a bold move by Cranky, I think.
Yep. That's exactly as I was just saying. The Duncan's probably going to go dark and use his speed to reposition and make the Tulsa uncomfortable, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. So
he's broadside to a Minnesota as well.
Yeah,
and that's a Minnesota salvo traveling at him.
The Duncan, I think, was gambling on the idea of maybe being able to frag their radar cruiser, knowing that as soon as that radar cruiser falls, they can flip C quite easily. But because the radar cruiser is just staying dark, all he's done, unfortunately, is expose himself to the remainder of the Sun's flank.
What is that Tulsa's build? Because he was under 10 kilometers and not spotted.
Essentially a stealth radar build.
And then he's spotted again, but he's picked his time to be.
Yeah, I suspect he's running stealth radar using Shelley Beepley. I mean, we won't know unless they tell us, but this would be my...
Yeah, but my thing was, it was very low. I think most of mine... I don't know if I've got many of them under 10 for the Americans, but maybe because I'm not using Beepley. Beepley's obviously...
I mean, the Tulsa has a very clearly defined role in this battle, and it's just to sit there and act as a radar to scare the enemy from pushing in. He doesn't really need anything beyond that, other than maybe a defensive armament to run away or to fight whenever an opportunity presents itself. So he's able to quite comfortably use both of his inspiration slots into concealment, knowing that all they really need to do is kind of angle, sit dark, get comfy by an island near a cap. This will very heavily play out depending on whether the Duncan can punish the Tulsa here or not. If this Duncan falls without taking the Tulsa, this trade, unfortunately, did not work in Warfare at Sea's favor, and it might cost him this flank. If that Duncan falls, C is very comfortably in control of Suns for probably the remainder of the game.
I don't think my chat would forgive me if we didn't use this opportunity to say, walk him in. We really need spectator mode because obviously we've been heavily focused over here on the seaside because that's the viewpoints we have. SOA have actually lost one of their battleships already. Yep. He seemed to be positioned really far back on A. I'd love to know how he went down, but it's like how did he die there?
Well, we're about to see the battleship trade occur.
And there we go. Duncan has got.
Yeah,
oh
actually,
God,
we're seeing the Smaland go right now. Yep.
Yeah,
so...
I was going to say Gillis is super low, and
yeah,
surely he doesn't get away with it. And there we go. That's big. So I noticed as well the team composition. SOA only came in to a triple cap with 2 DDs. So now they've evened out the spotting.
Yeah, and ultimately the Smaland that fell was the Smaland that took a big hit from the Tulsa with the early radar, which really shows honestly how well Suns orchestrated that play on C flank. Not only did they secure the cap, but they really heavily crippled the opposition over there. Duncan has fallen on that flank, Smaland has fallen on that flank, so C is pretty comfortably now Suns for the remainder of the game, which means we're going to see a lot more pressure be applied to B.
Yeah, I was going to say, and now they're pushing away B's radar cruiser, which is...
And I ultimately, Warfare at Sea have tried to focus more attention on A, knowing that C has fallen, but have failed to utilize that and cap it. So I think we might see a game where Warfare at Sea fall here. It is definitely not in, like, Suns definitely have the momentum here. They've resisted the push on A, and they've successfully captured C, and they're in the better positions for the fight on B.
Yeah, like I said, I said we shouldn't be discounting SOA at the start, and yeah, they're
showing why. Yeah,
even it doesn't matter what happens the rest of this game. Now, I think putting WASA in this position has proved they 100% earned and deserved their spot in this European final.
If that Donskoy on A falls, they might be able to flip A and then divert all their attention to B. I mean, I think it's too early to rule WASA out now, but they have been put in a difficult position.
WASA can 100% pull this game back. Like, if any team has the capacity, it is going to be WASA. But the fact that SOA have just, even win or lose it, SOA putting them in this position is kind of my point, with them being the new kids on the block. And I don't think, because we were talking about how the way the fleet network has changed, you're seeing a lot of different teams pushing through and a lot of the big names getting taken out very early. I guess the point I was trying to get to, if I can find my words, is like, even though like Salty and Payne and CRD have been taken out, I think SOA have shown they deserve to be here.
Sure. I mean, they're rallying with some of the strongest fleets in the game right now, and they're, pound for pound fighting on relatively equal ground here, as we're seeing.
And WASA have lost another battleship as well.
Unfortunately, they have finally managed to capture A, but they spent... Ultimately, every minute a ship is over there, like, every ship your team has is a resource, and they committed resources to A and failed to take it quick enough, whereas C fell quite quickly, and we've had this long drawn out battle in B that has only really worked in Sun's favor because they had the preferred positioning. I think one of the key defining points of this battle was the Duncan that fell. That Duncan falling really removed a lot of Warfare at Sea's firepower capacity to fight back blow for blow, and also opened that flank up to a capture. So
yeah, it was very much domination by SOA on that C cap. and that
Also,
just...
maintaining a full concealment build and staying dark was a smart play. He knew what his role was, and he you know, they're not trying to show off. They're just doing what they have to do to win. And
I was going to say, you could say he wasn't damage hungry, but
No.
in a competitive match, Train Leader is on 85,000 damage, which is pretty damn impressive. As he dodges torps from the Delaware, and I think he's going to pick up the kill.
Prime example of sometimes shooting the enemy is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, if he opened up on that Duncan, this game could have got very different very quickly. But that's just shy of a 500-point lead with just a minute 40 left.
This is definitely going to put some pressure on Warfare at Sea. We might see them switch over to a 2-destroyer, 2-destroyer and 3-cruiser rotation here. Maybe it really depends on what the next map is, but I do think they're going to be back at the drawing board here, and maybe not overestimating them, the Suns team a second time.
Yeah, I think I've noticed SOA do this as well. They'll take 2 cruisers, 2 destroyers a lot of the time, and they will have a cruiser push and contest a cap. And it's it's worked out pretty well for them in the past, and well, it's worked out for them again here. Like,
yeah, 40 seconds on the clock with a 500-point lead, give or take. It's a pretty defined victory at this point. So it was a great first game, and I'm sure it's going to put a lot of pressure on Warfare at Sea, because, I mean, let's be honest, there's an expectation that Warfare at Sea have to perform. So losing the first game is going to be quite a big blow to morale, at least in terms of...
Oh yeah, I was on about...
Maybe them realizing they're not as on the momentum train as they thought.
You can call me an idiot, but I just realised when I was looking at the screen that we can actually see SOA's Train Leader's detection range. 8.8 kilometres he's got that Tulsa down to. My God, it's practically a destroyer at this point.
So, I mean, Shelley Beepley is a commander to... I mean, I don't know if they're running Shelley Beepley at our ship. Yeah, Shelley Beepley, there you go, right?
Yeah.
So, Shelley Beepley is a force to be reckoned with, because it can basically stealth radar a lot of US cruisers. Where the moment you get spotted, you know you can pop that radar and you're gonna catch whatever it is that's spotting you.
So, there we go. Once again, this tournament provides us with an upset, with SOA taking the first game.
It's huge. It's huge. Because now, you know, SOA, they're coming up against the reigning champions. They were probably a bit anxious to begin with, or a bit stressed, and they've come into the first game. They've performed well. It's probably removed a lot of the stress they have. You know, they're realizing, you know, we're actually doing quite well. We can push, keep the momentum. Whereas on the flip side, Warfare at Sea are probably looking at their composition and going, right, we need to figure out how we can have some kind of advantage here, because even when we saw with the ship selection, they had very similar compositions in terms of the ships they were taking in, and they both had very similar play styles. I mean, it was almost a mirror match. They were both anchoring on islands, they were both taking it slow, and whichever team pushed first was generally the one that fell first.
Yeah, I think it was literally SOA's use of the radar very early on, securing C, that kind of forced WASA to take a few more risks than what they normally would, and
it didn't pay off. Yeah.
Well, it did pay off for SOA, but there we go. Ooh, what on earth is going on here? The stream quality has gone to hell. Oh, there we go. Right, so we'll get Delaware. Alright, let's... So Train Leader is swapped to the St. Louis this time. Blitzkrieg is taking the Temeraire. What do you think of that pick? That's... Haven't seen many teams running a Temeraire in the Ocean Cup.
I mean, it has a relatively good heal, and it's fast. Maybe they have something in mind for this map, like a rotation in mind.
And you were right. Oh no, so they've both gone for a triple DD lineup.
That is what I was either expecting Warfare at Sea to switch to a triple cruiser, or for Suns to switch to a triple DD just to kind of match it.
I find that kind of odd that they've both gone for triple DDs on this map, because there's only really 2 cap points you can contest.
Yeah, but there's lots of spotting lanes.
Yeah.
Like, a ship being positioned basically anywhere in this map has limited spotting. So you want the 3 destroyers just to maintain the spotting angles. Like, there's a lot of room on this map for shotgunning. So you just need the eyes to protect your battleships and prevent the shotguns. I mean, like, if your team is getting shotgunned in TFN at this high in the cup, it just shouldn't be happening. You need, like, things in place to protect your ships from shotgunning, and this is one of the important factors for this map. Either radar cruisers or mirror destroyer format, and watch the flanks.
So it looks like WASA are aggressively going to push into B, and I think, at least so by the looks of it, the destroyer on the C flank is going to push wide, spot, and hope that the Duncan can capitalise whilst the mid-DD
we know
flips
there's
over.
certain, like, you can kind of anticipate, because we know how Suns are playing right now. You can kind of expect what islands they're going to be behind. So it's a case of trying to get them capture points in early, get your radar cruiser in. Maybe secure these, like, moon crescent islands in the middle between B and C, just so that you have a lane to rotate or withdraw from, at least a position of cover.
I've noticed as well, so SOA have put, if you look at the A cap, they've put, I'm assuming that's one of their radar cruisers in.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a bit of a precarious situation, because if that radar cruiser is spotted, it can potentially get shot at from both sides of the map.
I think what's even more peculiar is the Sun's cruiser up on the top right of the map, facing away from the fight, because it's a really peculiar position. Yes, you have radar coverage over C, and we're seeing it happen now, but you don't really have firing angles on a lot of stuff. And we're actually seeing an interesting trade now, because both Warfare at Sea's Duncan and their destroyer are really, really aggressively pushing that flank to try and remove them, like, evict them from this formation of islands up there, and maybe use it against them. If that Duncan can get into that island formation where the Sun's Donskoy is right now, that'll be huge, because that Duncan will be right behind their line.
That was a very big hit from Cranky on the Donskoy.
If that Duncan can get where the Donskoy is, it's going to be really, really hard for Suns to move him.
I think he's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, he dodged the final talk, but Cranky's just about to reload.
He's going to take a shot while reversing. Yeah, and that's...
Is the island going to save him? That is the question.
And we can see that he speed boosted over there.
Oh my good God. He barely makes it out of there. And on a live radar,
we saw Cranky Cracker just speed boost behind the destroyer and rush it. I think they just knew that the island was going to have something there, and it's an advantageous position to capture early game. Yeah, and Donskoy's just fallen to a torpedo.
Yeah,
that's huge early game.
That's gonna put a lot of pressure on SOA now.
Yeah, well,
they've lost. It's not just losing a cruiser; it's losing a radar cruiser,
and the momentum from last game. Yeah.
Ooh, Delaware. What is going on with Cranky's stream? Are you getting some horrible, like, jittery lag on it?
I am.
God damn it. God damn it, Cranky. Stop streaming off a potato.
I mean, that's not fault the guy for trying. Right.
All right, I'm flip over to see how train leader is getting over on the B flank, which this is good. At least we got opposing flank views, not just everything fighting on one side. We can see a bit more about what's going on the battlefield.
Yeah, the Z46 is kind of having to withdraw here and run, and we're seeing the Smaland radar popping off. Z46 might fall, but we're also at the exact same time we're seeing the St. Louis square up against the Warfare at Sea Donskoy, and there's huge hits going off.
That was very big hits from train leader on Donskoy.
Yeah, it was.
And he gets absolutely punished. I think that must be the Lepanto.
The whole game is happening within these 30 seconds, like everything all at once. I think we might see the St. Louis fall.
There's torps coming as well from the Delaware. Is he?
Yeah.
I don't think he's dodging them. It's going to be incredibly close. He's going to
take one on the nose. Maybe saturation will save him. No.
But where are you, Aaron, coming in and picking up the kill? And the Z fell the other side. This is the exact opposite of what happened
because the Duncan is about to be in the position we were talking about earlier, where he's going to have a line of fire on the whole back row of the Suns team. So, yeah, this really hardcore push that the Duncan performed last game didn't work out for them, but they've done the exact same thing this game, and it has, where they've just speed boost full center flank, punched through the radar cruiser there, which left the destroyer to fend for himself, pushed the radar, pushed the destroyer, sunk him, and then just utilized that flank to crossfire, and it's working very, very well for them this game.
Yeah, it's this is. I have noticed like a lot, pretty much everything that's left on SOA's team is very healthy, but I don't think
it's the snowball effect here.
Yeah, we're going to see what happens in standard battles when you lose your first 3 ships on your team because two potatoes have died, and everyone complains about these snowball games where my team is dead and it was just me left alive.
Unfortunately,
it's overwhelming firepower.
The one cardinal rule of World of Warships is you only need 1 HP to shoot your guns, and sometimes it only takes 1 salvo to get a kill. This is why it's so important to secure these kills and not let them get away when they're weak.
And yeah, a 4-ship advantage. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good a player you are. I don't think anyone is capable of, consistently taking on. They'd all have to take on a 2v1 and win against, arguably the best team currently in World of Warships Legends. I'm kind of sad.
I do think that Warfare at Sea have a lot of skill aside, they have a lot of healthy ships, so they not only do they have the numbers advantage, they also have the health advantage here. I mean, that Duncan is basically full health and still has 4 heals. And he has the speed to just get round the back and make people uncomfortable, which is exactly what he's doing and has done in both games. We're about to see big hits on the Petro in a minute because they just have no idea he's there. He's not detected. They don't know he's coming. They're only going to know the Duncan is there when they're taking a big salvo.
The Delaware? The Delaware is going to be broadside.
He is going for whoever presents the side first, and the Delaware is about to find out that the Duncan is there very quickly. Yeah.
And Cranky Cracker has announced his presence on the flank. With a
we might see the Duncan reverse now and try and get some HE shots over, and they're going to try and put pressure on. Yeah, like we're seeing the cruiser reverse now. They may try and put pressure on the Duncan, but I think they're being shot by so many ships right now. It doesn't really matter who they shoot at. They're going to show a broadside to someone and they're going to fall. I mean,
yeah, like. I'm watching Cranky trying to line up that shot.
Yeah, he wants that depth strike. He does. He's trying.
He just needs a few more inches, which I'm sure he's not happy about hearing me say that live. That he needs a few more inches, but he gets it, and another big hit from Cranky. And again, he's just shy of 100,000 damage, which is incredibly hard to do in comp battles. But that push.
Especially while still retaining almost your entire health.
Yeah.
He is basically flanked with almost no resistance, secured the flank, and now has map control on that side and is using it to completely utilize his dominance. He's sending over his funny damage torpedoes, like, you know, you're not going to catch a fish unless you cast a net, you know, so he's, in case the the hybrid tries reversing, it might catch a torp, but ultimately I think it doesn't make a difference here anymore.
No, there's, what's that, 500-point difference.
Yeah.
And how long have we got? Yeah, we've still got 5 minutes left in the battle, but yeah, with the ship advantage, like, fair play to SOA for holding on. And there we go. There is the Delaware gone for some torps from Habib, and yeah, it's literally just a case of waiting for the fat lady to sing, should we say? Because this match. This match ended three minutes ago, unfortunately. But like, you have to say, like, GG to WASA, and this is why they're probably, arguably, the best team out there. They took a nasty loss in that first round, but they've literally just come back out absolutely swinging, and they pulled off a really good play, which has led to a rather convincing victory in the second round.
Well, I mean, we saw both teams taking a very similar strategy in game one, but I think as soon as WASA realized they were going to be playing a very slow game of chess unless they changed things up a little bit, they you know, we saw a slight ship change and a much more aggressive strategy in game two, where they were like, well, if they're gonna sit behind islands, we're just gonna guess which islands they're gonna sit behind, and we're gonna focus 2 of them. And it worked out really, really well. You even if you rewind the stream, you watch this retroactively, you can see Warfare at Sea pinging an island at the very start of the game, and they're probably just saying, whatever's behind this island, make it fall.
Needs to die.
And then we'll push around that way. Yeah, and yeah. So
I think it could have potentially have been very different if the Tulsa was there instead of the Donskovoy, just because of its concealment and its ability to.
Unfortunately, you can't pick your spawns.
But,
yeah, it did not work in their favor this game.
But yeah, you've got to play the chips as they lie, and
yeah. I think game one was a really good indication of what they can expect in game 2 and 3, and they just made the appropriate changes required to come in and hit it down hard. So unless we see a strategy change from SOA in game 3, we may see a similar result.
And honestly, not to take anything away from SOA, but I think what we've seen there really was the difference in experience of the teams. Like,
maybe, but
WASA figured them out in the first match, taking that unfortunate loss for them, and in the second game they were like, well, right, okay, we know how to deal with this. They're going to play really tight, really defensive.
No,
if we can get
think
a flank.
what they did so well last game was taking out the Warfare at Sea Duncan, because this entire strategy seems to be based around the Duncan and the Smelland, pushing hard around the flank, supporting each other, and using their kind of back row positioning to make it so that they can't sit behind the islands that they want to get comfortable behind. And in game one, I think they realized the importance of sinking the Duncan because it was flanking probably a bit more aggressively than it should have too early into the game.
The big difference was in the first match, the small land was trying to contest the cap and wasn't flanking with the Duncan. So the Duncan's push was kind of on his own.
I just think they failed to address the concern in the room, which was the Duncan. And unfortunately, Duncan with his fast and very accurate guns, it just... Game 2 may have played out differently if they were able to counter the Duncan, but not this time. So maybe in Game 3, they might realize and try to focus down these fast flanking battleships a bit more. It's honestly different. Like, whenever you see TFA, usually the battleships are anchoring behind islands or sitting at the back near their spawn and playing long-range snipers. But Warfare at Sea just seem to be using these battleships to punch through as quickly as possible and just like uproot any anchors they can find. So the trick here honestly might be to try and address some of these pushing battleships, but it's much easier said than done when the moment you try shooting your guns and you get spotted, you're immediately met with, like, you know, that scene out of 300 because all the Warfare at Sea ships are now shooting back at you.
We shall fight them in the shade.
Yeah. The shells are blocking out the sun, you know.
Oh, so I think I'm gonna look to stay on board with Cranky for the most of this. So train leader has swapped back to his Tulsa that worked for him pretty well in the first match. Unfortunately, I'm waiting for the picture to update because it's super grainy. There we go. So we have a battleship for both, I believe, on A, on the A flank. So A flank for is Cranky for WASA. I'm unsure because we just don't have spectator mode. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So we can't really determine all of the ships. All of the ship positions. SOA look like they're going to go for a really heavy push onto the sea flank. And in all fairness, WASA seem to be doing the same. This is quite interesting. Literally both teams picking the same weak side and same strong side. So there's going to be no overwhelming force for anyone to have to try and counter.
I mean, we're seeing the same thing for the Duncan again, going wide around A, but the problem is you can't go too wide because the island kind of blocks. You can't ride the map border on this one. But we're also, honestly, we're seeing SOA dedicate a lot of resources to B. And trying to secure that B cap early.
Yeah, and both teams have picked the same side of B to try and fight. And I find this odd because their cruisers and their DDs are in the same grid square.
I think both of these teams knew exactly what they were going to come up against, both in terms of ships they were going to play against and also strategy. And it's
and look at the battleship from B for both teams. They have both gone to the same spot.
Yeah, like we're seeing a game of chess now. Like the first two games are out of the way. Both teams know exactly what they're going to come up against now, and it's
Cranky
it's trying to min-max it.
And SOE's Minnesota are both pushing wide on A. I think this could work out in WASA's favour because if whoever wins, WASA can get back into the fight much faster because, well, hell, they've got a Duncan as opposed to a Minnesota.
Yeah, but Minnesota has the range with its main guns and the accuracy and the damage. So it's Duncan is, you know, I think in a straight up one-on-one, the Minnesota might be able to take the Duncan, but I just don't think they would sit there and willingly let the Duncan fall without trying to support it. So
I don't know if you're watching the same screen that I am, but Cranky is doing in honour to Sir T-Bull of riding the map border to swing his ship around a bit faster.
Oh, we got the first shots.
Was not the most impressive hit, but that fire is going to be a pain.
We're seeing the Suns SOA Tulsa taking big numbers right now, big damage.
Oh,
as well on B.
Oh yes, big damage, and he's got a fire and flooding, and he can't do anything about it for another 10 seconds. So fair play. I think he done the right thing. He popped his heel off as soon as he could to help sort of mitigate.
They're desperately trying to flip B. I think you might see that radar go like as soon as available, but it really depends on whether or not that destroyer can. Like Smilan's reversing, yeah. Are they going to try and use that as a radar? They have two radars. They got to use them before the Tulsa falls. You know.
It's all well and good having a radar-capable ship, but if it doesn't use its capability,
They have to use it before it goes down, and I think we're going to see a very aggressive push very quickly where they're going to try and uproot that Tulsa.
Are they waiting for the Donskovoy to... Because the Donskovoy seems to be being pushed back at the moment. Are they waiting for that Donskovoy to get far enough away that it can't play a big role in finishing off the Tulsa? And, ooh, here's Torp's coming for train leader. Tulsa's a very skinny ship. I think he's going to just about dodge them. That was... I don't think he needed to take that Torp. I think that was a bit of a mistake. But I'm assuming that was a small...
If they can flip the Lucian, though, it might have paid off. But I think the WASA Lucian is going to get away here. And in return, it's going to cost them their Tulsa. They're trying. They really want to get the Tulsa out of the game. Yeah, and there you go. So they've now lost their radar anchor on B. So it is safe to assume at this point that B is probably going to flip.
It's going to take that Donskovoy a little bit of time to get back in.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I was in a small land if I'd be overly keen on trying to take out a Lucian. Because obviously the smoke sonar combo is...
Not without the radar support at the very least, yeah.
So strong, so yeah. I think you're right. I think they're gonna have to back out of that one. I would probably send the small land over to A to maybe shore up the defense there. You know, if you're losing a cap, there's only so much time you can spend fighting it.
Yeah.
Oh, small land has used his radar. Lucian looks like he's. How is that Lucian not spotted by the small land?
He's obviously just withdrawn. They've just decided, like, we've took their radar cruiser. Even if they cap it, we can probably come back and flip it once our Donskoy is repositioned. So there's really no need to stay here and fight this cap right now and risk losing HP that we can save for the end game.
Yeah, and WASA have just stuck a battleship in there to contest it. So,
yeah. And that battleship is relatively safe. Like, if the destroyer wants to try and shotgun him, they can, but they're going to have to push through. Although, that battleship is playing really aggressively. I would expect him to just chill and anchor for a few minutes, but he's coming around to try and get those guns off.
Well, yeah, he's got a crossfire on SOA's cruiser and battleship, so... like,
he's trying to utilize it and pressure them while he can. Yeah,
he would. It's Sir Habif as well. So probably, he's got to be one of the best battleship players I've ever seen.
Duncan has found himself in a peculiar spot though. He might take big hits from that Minnesota now.
Ooh, let's flip over.
He's going to panic. He's turning in, getting that nose in.
Ooh. He has got one of his squiggly torps off, though.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll connect.
Has he got that? Has he angled enough? Yeah, perfectly angled. He ricocheted most of those shells, and absolutely got away with it.
This Duncan is really like going blow for blow in game 2 and 3, and is coming off so well in its fights. But we might see the shotgun. Can the Z46 do the funny? That's the question. Or is he going to withdraw?
Oh, small land for SOA just went down as well.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to just see that. It's going to be really hard for SOA to pull this back, because 3 ships down, it's going to be the same case as game 2. Just going to see that snowball effect slowly.
It depends on how much health a lot of the WASA ships have, because if you can quickly drop 2 or 3 of them because they're on 1 HP, it's irrelevant. But when it looks like a good portion of them are still quite healthy, the Duncan especially is on 58,000 health with 4 repairs remaining. All he really has to worry about is this destroyer that could try and shotgun him at any point in time. But he's keeping his HE loaded, he's holding his shot, and he's being aware of it.
So I was curious. Yeah, it's the other destroyer that's contesting B. I think that might have been a mistake, taking the destroyer off C to come back and contest B, because you're not taking B. Oh, although J Trank is very low in the Donskovoy, and boom, there he goes. He's gone.
Yeah.
And the other battleship, not the Duncan, has also been lost. So there was me saying, "Oof, this is going to be the same," but SOA have quickly pulled back 2 kills.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. Like, if they're low HP, it doesn't matter if there's that much of a kill lead because you can clean up. And they may get the third kill here because this
with a
the shotgunning.
A YOLO.
Yeah. It didn't pay off though. Oh,
No,
yes,
no.
it did.
And unfortunately, SOA couldn't punish him for it.
However, SOA also have a shotgun opportunity on Cranky Cracker in the Duncan. Because they're both riding the same island. If they can come round and shotgun that Duncan, it'll flip the table a bit. Are we going to see it happen? I don't think we are. I think the GD might have pulled back.
Oh, Toto's getting absolutely annihilated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think they're going to lose the Temeraire for that.
They will. The fire's going to get him.
Feel my flame in the Lepanto picking up the kill. Oh.
If they can take the Duncan, there's a chance, but the Duncan might take the Minnesota with it. And if it takes the Minnesota with it, that's game.
Oh, Minnesota takes a taupe.
If that Minnesota falls, I don't see them pulling us back. And Warfare at Sea are very much pressuring that right now to make sure it happens.
So this is unfair. We need to speak to these two teams. The emotional roller coaster they're putting us on with huge win, 3 ships down, quickly switch to only 1 ship advantage, quickly switching again.
I'm surprised we're not seeing this Duncan use his heal. Maybe he just knows they're going to win. He's like, what's the point? And
then Minnesota is gone. It's just the 2 destroyers left. And Lucian's in a fight with another Lucian, and I'm assuming that Lucian's got sonar up because he's not missing his shells.
Whoever wins this Lucian fight, SOA come out worse anyway. DD versus DD fights almost always cost a load of health, and even if he wins it, they've only got 2 DDs left. So that was just, regardless, it was a bad spot for them to be in. But there is no good spot for them anymore. Unfortunately, the game is. I mean, look at the score.
Yeah,
it's over.
It's done. God damn it, WASA.
Yep. So that's 2 to WASA, 1 to SOA, and we're seeing another Warfare at Sea Atlantic victory. TFN.
So this will be the first time we've seen a 4th game, I think, so far out of these quarterfinals. Because we had Hulk versus Payne yesterday. That was a 3-0 victory to Hulk. And like that's a team I can't help but get behind. Is Hulk Crushers. Those guys, like, they kind of done what SOA did like 2 seasons ago, where they just came out of nowhere. They were kind of like maybe like a middling team, and they were like, oh, it's Hull Crushers. Like, you might see them, get into the playoffs, past the playoffs, but like you didn't expect them to go far, and like out of nowhere, then they're competing for a top spot. So I'm glad to see Hull Crushers go through, like, those guys, and they're a really nice bunch of lads. I don't know if you've spoken to them, but they're a great lot. Well, we're going to switch over to. Oh, what's going on here, Mr.
I was having a bit of an internet spike here.
Looks like Cranky's had to reset his game. So we're stuck with black screen on my stream at the moment because I don't want anyone to see the room code when Cranky inputs it to get back in. But yeah, something happened, and Cranky had to restart. So,
I mean, do we see another battle? They've just won 2-1.
No, it's best of 5. This is the European finals.
Yes, you're right. Okay. Yes, you're right.
Oh God, it's weird. It's just such a weird feeling for me because SOA obviously knocked out my team, which is salty. They're my boys, so part of me is like, oh, I wanna back SOA for this, and then like the fact that they've come up from nowhere, they're basically like the underdog team of this season. But then like,
I don't think. I mean, they have some calling them an underdog team when they have some really like notable names on their roster is a statement. But they're certainly a young team in terms of their TFN. I think they've been around a while though. I mean, but
they played in the German leagues. I know that much, but
they've played very well for a team that's coming up against WASA and all of the, almost the press that comes with that. There's a lot of stress behind playing WASA because they're ultimately the team to beat. I'm sure everyone at least has. You're not a team in TFN if you don't have Warfare at Atlantic on your radar. Because beating them will put you on the radar. So there's a lot of pressure to perform here. And I'm sure SOA are feeling it right now because they have to come back in this next game, or unfortunately their run in TFN is over for OC4.
But even if their run is over, they should walk away with their heads held very high for making it this far. They've played their socks off and earned some recognition.
I mean, yeah, it's easy to be like an onlooker and say, oh, well, they lost, they obviously, blah, 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 but ultimately you need to understand that TFN is the single most competitive form we have right now. Like, these games are not easy. You are playing against the best of the best, and player behavior is nothing like standard. It is a very slow, methodical kind of thought process behind these games, and even losing one key ship in a peculiar situation can cost you the entire game.
On that note, I've actually got an announcement that I should have probably made sooner. So what the TFN are doing, for anyone who's watching these competitive games and thinking, I'd love to have a go at that, but I don't fancy getting my head crushed by Habif for 3 matches straight. It doesn't look like fun. Trust me, I'm playing competitive. It is fun. But the Fleet Network have announced that they are going to be running a Rookie Cup as well. So there's potentially current TFN network fleets going to be in it, but none of the top 16 teams. The top 16 teams cannot compete, and we're going to have smaller teams. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but it's either going to be either 5v5 or 7v7 to open up the open up the fleet network, should we say, to a lot more players, and have a cup that will still be very competitive, but not to this level. So yeah, if you're interested, let any of the streamers who stream TNF games know. We can get you in touch. We can get you into the fleet network, and the more the merrier, I see.
It might also be a good opportunity to present yourself to the bigger teams. There's one might snatch you up if you do well enough, and then you might find yourself in some of these bigger games. It's hard to say, really, but I mean, there's no harm in jumping in and getting involved.
100%.
I mean, the worst that happens is you lose, right? But I'm sure you've all lost many battles of World of Warships before. So I mean, what's one more, right?
Yeah, that is very true. I never thought of it that way. I'm gonna steal that for future broadcasts.
No, I think everyone's lost at least one game.
I don't know. There's a couple of people in WASA. I'm pretty sure they haven't lost a game. Or if they have, it's because they purposely picked bad boats. That was a beautiful blind fire shot by Train Leader there. He didn't do huge damage, but that DD's got to be sweating a little bit.
All right, we're seeing the final team lineup.
What?
Once
You're miles
again.
behind. The game's already started.
Oh, you're right. I'm watching the wrong stream. That's why I'm being silly. Hold on.
We're 3 minutes in.
I don't do this very often, you see. Okay, I have the streams up again.
Right.
Great. I'm back in. I've gone forward in time. I'm back in the present.
Welcome. This is 2024.
Alright, so what are we seeing? Oh, this map is an interesting one for a final game. That's rough. I'm sure SOA are feeling that. This map is peculiar and quite difficult for whichever poor people spawn in mid. I'm trying to see what's even happening. We're seeing Duncan already taking a lot of hits and trying to go dark. On the flip, we're also seeing Train Leader take a lot of hits. There's so much spotting potential on this map. And very little cover to protect you unless you're on one of the imminent islands. But if you're on these imminent islands on A or C, there's also a huge risk of shotgunning. So you kind of have to stay out in the open for a lot of the game and just rely on your ship's total concealment or firing penalty reduction to kind of weave in and out of safety.
And I feel WASA are starting off really strong because they've managed to cap B, and B is an incredibly difficult
yeah, I mean, you have to sail out in the open.
Yeah. You're going to be exposed. Either way.
Is that Duncan going to sail into these torps? I mean, he saw them a very long time ago. Oh, they ran out of range. That was very lucky for the Dunk. I think I was about to see him sail into some torps.
If he did, I know Cranky quite well. I would have to send him a very insulting message on Discord.
I'm sure you have many friends doing that. Oh, yeah, Cranky taking big hits in the superstructure again. Honestly, I usually have a rough idea of what the strategies are, and I'm able to kind of speak along them, but I really have no idea what both teams are doing here. We're seeing... It's the final. It's ultimately like one of the final games, and we're seeing that because teams are being very careful. We're not seeing aggressive destroyer players all that much. There was one very early in the game in terms of capping B, and that DD on WASA's side in B is basically on his own. If they radar him and push him, it's going to be quite difficult for the Duncan to intervene, especially if it's on the north side. But
Train Leader's using his reload booster currently on J-Track in the Donskovoy. Unfortunately, his hits seem to have been a bit on the weak side, and he's taken a lot more damage in return. And this just doesn't look all that good for SOA.
At least it's not one of their radar cruisers. You know, it's the big thing here. Like, they have their radars, so the next best thing is a main battery reload booster for DPS support, but we're also seeing the Minnesota and the Duncan kind of trade blows again. It's like that JoJo scene. It's like, you're approaching me. Like, every single game the Duncan has come squared up against the Minnesota.
Yeah. Who will win this time?
We're seeing trade leader kind of realizing maybe I didn't come off particularly great in the last battle, and I need to preserve at least a little bit of HP to
Yeah, they
do what I
are.
can.
They are actually taking C, so they've done what they intended to do, which is
Double cap.
good. Well, no,
Yeah.
because A is contested. A is contested by a battleship as well.
Yeah, but A is really like when these ships are anchored. A is really hard to push because you either have to go wide in between A and B and risk being shot long range to kind of get around the back of the islands, or push through A and just run the risk of getting torpedoed. A is like they can contest it all they want, but ultimately it currently belongs to SOA, and it's a really difficult cap to flip. You're also seeing them bring their second destroyer in to play additional support, you know.
They don't need to flip A. They just need to keep it contested.
Yeah, they've got to hold it.
Because of the advantage they gained early on from B. And Minnesota is down. Feel my flame in the Lepanto, picking up the kill. So yeah, SOA, like, it's been a real chess battle, but SOA really need to do something, and soon. Otherwise,
Otherwise, you're just going to see Warfare at Sea taking a defensive stance and just waiting the game out. I mean, we're probably going to start seeing that now. We've already got a 200-point lead, and WASA are one ship up. I mean, like, now WASA don't have to be aggressive. SOA have to go in and take something down and flip one of these caps, or they're just going to lose. And we've only got 6 minutes left on the clock. Like, ultimately now the ball is in SOA's court. They have to take all the risk. And I don't really think they have any health on their ships to do it, at least the important ships that can push. They've already lost one of their battleships. Their DPM cruiser is effectively one-shottable. I mean, like, how do you break through a defense when all of your offensive capability has been taken away from you in the first 10 minutes?
Oh, and train leader is spotted broadside to a Donskoy. Donskoy's got HE loaded, which might be his saving grace. And he very narrowly gets away with it. But yeah, see that quick, because we don't have spectator mode. We've missed a cruiser and a destroyer going down for SOA as well. So Lepanto, Feel My Flame is pushing train leader, and I don't think it matters how good you are. If you're in a St. Louis and you're against a Lepanto, you're gonna die. And Feel My Flame picking up.
If you can lob an island
kill
with a reload booster, you might be able to flip it. But I don't. It's hard to stay enthusiastic when you're just watching them go ship after ship is going down one after another, and the advantage is becoming more and more significant. I mean, they're 3 down and on the losing side. Like, they have to push, and they have to take something out to flip it. Like, all of the risk is on SOA's side, and yet they just got, like, through the nose, basically citadeled by Lepanto, the St. Louis. So, like, all of the risk is on SOA. WASA can just chill now and play defensively. This was a very masterfully presented game on WASA's side. They did the bare minimum they had to do to take the lead, and then just chilled and let, you know, SOA have to figure out how they're going to counter it, and just every time SOA presented a mistake, WASA just punished them for it.
I'm going to have to not disagree with what you said, just the word in. It's like WASA done the bare minimum. The bare minimum in this match was quite difficult to do.
It was Cat B for them, but
Yeah.
which in itself is a huge point. My point when I say bare minimum, I don't mean as in they haven't put in effort. I mean, like, they've done what they've had to do to take a lead, and then rather than continue to push further and to carry that momentum, they just stopped and waited. I mean, they just figured, hey, SOA have to push us now, so we can just catch them making mistakes as they try to push us. Yeah. And
which, in all fairness, for anyone in fleets and stuff out there who are watching, or anyone looking to get into it, like we said, with like the Rookie Cup and stuff coming up, like that is a masterclass lesson from WASA about, not pushing, not trying to win harder. Just gaining that lead.
They know they had a lead and they just, rode it comfortably. Yeah.
Yeah. You that should be your goal. Your goal should be to gain a lead and hold it and just wait for the other team to make a mistake.
In TFN, I mean, if you get 200k damage but die and you lose as a result of it, it doesn't matter if you had 200k damage. I mean, no one's looking at damage numbers in this mode. It's all or nothing on the win. It was a good game. Oh, I mean, WASA presented. It's crazy to see that the B cap of all the caps seems to have such a big impact on this battle, because on this map you often see teams tend to ignore B, but in this case it was almost the reverse. Like WASA decided to push B and just.
Well, in all fact, they didn't commit resources to it. You had.
I just think it was a lack of SOE committing enough resources.
Yeah.
And they were just able to take it quite easily. Yeah.
Well, SOA had a cruiser and a destroyer there, but they just didn't push it. They looked to hold it. They didn't. That gave the point advantage to WASA, and WASA just used that as an advantage and just, realised they were comfortable, sat there looking pretty, and just capitalised on.
Are we gonna see a shotgun on the Petro?
Oh, are you back in 2018 again? The match is over.
Yeah, I'm looking back at, and I'm also reading the footage, but no. I was trying to see if we got a shotgun, but there wasn't a shotgun.
No, and there we go. That is 3-1 to WASA. WASA are our European champions, and they will be going forward into the finals to take on Hull Crushers. So, what's your thoughts on that going forward? Hull Crushers versus.
I've not really seen a whole lot of Hull Crusher games, and from what I've seen, they either do really well or they struggle to gain the momentum. Whereas, in general, I've seen WASA just be consistent, and I think that's an important trait to have. They have their strategies, and they just must train them so much that they just have it down to muscle memory at this point. If our allied cruiser falls, we do this. If our allied battleship falls, we do this. And they just have their strategy down from, I'd say, enough repetition where they're able to be quite flexible, even if the plan wasn't originally designed to be flexible. Hull Crushers are definitely. I don't think we've seen Hull Crushers come up against Warfare at Sea before. So who knows if Warfare at Sea know what they're coming into. Sometimes the craziest ideas have the biggest impact, but we would have to wait and see in the games. Really, I don't have predictions. I mean, any betting man would obviously bet on Warfare at Sea. They're the reigning champions, but that doesn't to say they're not undefeatable. I mean, every ship can be sunk if it makes a big enough mistake. So we'll see. Really.
Bear me 2 seconds. I'm just trying to see if Bartok will jump in and have a post-game chinwag with us for SOA. I guess it is very quick after the final match. So
I do think I might actually rest you and rush off. I've got chronic indigestion right now, and I'm struggling to to maintain the energetic appearance on stream right now. So I'm probably gonna go rush off and go lay down. But thank you for having me on, and it was great to see the games. I think both teams played exceptionally well. I was surprised to see SOA coming off so strong at the beginning. And we'll I think we have the interesting battles ahead of us as well. I mean, this Ocean Cup is different to the rest on the basis that we're seeing different teams get further than what we usually would. So.
Yeah, well, we've got 2 matches left. We can have Hull Crushers versus WASA for 1 and 2, and then we're going to also see Painkillers take on SOA for the 3rd place. Oh, excuse me. My God, I'm dying. On that
note, I'm disappearing, but thank you for having me, and I wish you all a wonderful weekend. Or, well, what's left of it. can I say? Take care.
Yeah, you too. Take care. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I get a lot of technical difficulties. I'm having technical difficulties on my Elgato at the moment. This should be World of Warships. Got the music, but no image. And hoping to see if either of the representatives from WASA or SOA will join us for a chat. And my voice is going. So, Mr. Jedi, I see that. We unfortunately didn't get a chance to ask. And, oh my God, we're joined by Jenkonomics, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing, good sir?
Hold on, brother. I'm trying
to fix his audio.
Well, I got you on my phone, my brother. I'm trying to get this thing so that I can actually put it on speakerphone here.
Oh, damn. Man. Well, actually, I want to say, because I know I've congratulated you on becoming a CC in, like, text format, but this is the first time we've actually spoken since you got it, because obviously we were meant to team up, but stuff and things happened. I just want to say, congratulations, man. Like, honestly, like, well-deserved. You're a bit of a pillar of the community, and it's nice to see you actually finally get that recognition.
You're way too kind, Hive. Thanks, brother.
You're right.
Appreciate that.
I am way too kind.
You are way too kind.
But
you're an incredible human being.
Man, that match was a bit of a roller coaster. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I kind of love an underdog story. And
yeah, me too. And that's the way the boys over at WASA looked at it. I mean, they were chatting about it with me a couple hours back before I even said, like, hey, I think I'm gonna make it back in time to stream this.
Did you make it back in time?
Yeah. I mean, like, a couple hours ago. I mean, they're like we're not slacking at all with these guys. Like, they're legit. Obviously, they've done the right things over the last couple weeks to make themselves known, and this being their first Fleet Network matchup, man, that's pretty crazy. The first ever tournament. That's pretty crazy. They did really well. And
that first match, when they come out and like, it was a pretty convincing win. I was like, oh my God, Goliath can bleed.
Yeah. You know, it's funny how many Fleet Network tournaments or matchups have I streamed for WASA now where I've saw them drop game one and then they pull it together and go, okay, now we know what this is about. Now we know what our opponents are about, and they pull it back together, regroup, and play their game, and they do really well with that. They love playing from behind. They've said it before and time again.
Yeah, it's like I'm hoping. Who is it? I keep on forgetting. I'm bloody rubbish for names. Who is it? Oh my God! I'm losing my mind. It's Jocko is supposed to hopefully going to join us at some point, and Bartok.
Right?
Hopefully they're gonna jump in and have a little chat with us for post game interviews. But like, I want to know, like, I want to know, like, one, kind of what happened in the first game, and two, was it they just figured it out? They just, like, was that one game enough for them with all their experience to figure out how to turn that table and just
watching strictly from, at least my 2 cents from watching strictly from Cranky's vantage point there. It was Cranky and Gillis on an island, basically on an island. They were 2 players by themselves over on the sea cap on trap, and they were facing off against 4 players. Not only were they facing off against the destroyer with a decent sonar, but they had the Tulsa there as well. And the Tulsa was able to sit behind the island and basically spam the radars over the top of the cap, and that put Gillis in a horrible position that he was just barely hanging on by a sliver of health. And Cranky, by the time he was able to make that turn around the island, he had he looked like he had 2 battleships and a cruiser basically looking him dead in the eyes, and he just wasn't getting the salvos to connect. So in that first game, WASA lost Cranky and his Duncan and Gillis and his Smallland within. Well, I wouldn't say within, but it was in the first half of that matchup, and it's tough to come back from that.
Yeah, I think I understood what Cranky I think was trying to push that cruiser out, but Train Leader had an 8.8 kilometer detection range on that Tulsa, so he just reversed back calmly and slowly, stayed undetected, and then it was basically a 2-on-1 battleship fight, and you're gonna struggle with that.
Yep, pretty much.
Right, okay, so Bartok is in with the German streamers at the moment, so we will get him in a couple of minutes when they're done. Oh, actually, Jocko's in there as well. They're both in there.
Did we want to try and maybe get one of the WASA guys in this one?
Yeah, well, Jocko's supposed to be the representative, but if you've got one of the other WASA guys and you want to bring them in, man, because you are Mr. WASA.
Well, I'm not sure if they appointed me an emissary just yet. Let me check. Discord here. I don't see anything.
Maybe we can get Aaron in here.
Let me see if I can pinpoint it here.
If anyone in chat has any questions for any of the fleets, now is definitely the time to get them in, because there's a bit of a delay.
There he is.
There we go.
Hey, lads.
Look at this guy that just showed up.
Who is he? We know where he is now.
Hi, Jank. How we doing, lads?
Where are you? Ohio State loss.
Oh, dude. I can't. I'm not gonna lie. Yesterday was pretty rough.
I know.
But today kind of makes up for it. So
anybody who could power lift a grill over the top, over the second story deck, it's you have a painful day in my book.
Yeah, that's.
I'm
how we
sorry.
doing,
You're gonna have to consider me an uncultured swine here. I'm guessing this is that game Americans screwed up by calling it football where they throw it, right?
Yes. But it's basically like Liverpool versus Man City amplified by 100. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, rivalry in all of sports. And our team had a great team, and we lost this year. So, in pretty embarrassing fashion. So yesterday was rough.
So it's kind of like when Wales play England in rugby, because rugby's our game. We're not footballers here in Wales. We're rugby players. So
yes.
Okay,
Aaron, love me some good rugby.
Aaron, you didn't change up your ship all 4 of those games, did you?
Nope.
What'd you play?
Petropavlovsk.
What was your main goal? Like what is your team goal when you're going into these tournament games for some of our newer audience? Like, what's the point of taking Petropavlovsk into a tournament game like this?
So, I mean, honestly, just long-range radar, accurate, high-velocity guns, and a tanky armor profile that I can get in close to islands, close to the caps, as you saw for a good portion of the games. And I just practiced with it. We practiced with this, and after eating a bunch of Republic shells in Donskoy, I switched up from Donskoy to Petro. But honestly, the long-range radar is just huge for even if you can't. There's a few times, I don't know if you saw the second game on Haven there. The boys called for radar. I wasn't necessarily able to get a shot, but just having that ability in that one position on Haven there, if I can actually cover both caps by sitting in the middle there. So just that profile of accurate guns to do a little bit of damage in radar.
Long range extended radar. Copy that. Because I saw you and J Trank were the two cruiser players when we were talking about WASA playing a 3-2-3. You guys, it was pretty much Petro and Donskoy, and so that's the reason why you bring those is the long range radar.
We get a little bit more DPM with Donskoy, but I have to give a huge. Honestly, I think Trank would say the same thing. You could probably put a good majority of the competitive players in these cruisers with how good our DD players and our battleship players are. I mean, they set us up so well in every game. Flame was supporting me on a good majority of those, just hitting targets, delivering that alpha strike. But and the DD position as well. They're just, they're sitting there, like, okay, we're in radar in 5. I'm ready to shoot. I'm ready to smoke. I'm gonna take it. It's just the teamwork is fantastic, and I really enjoyed that. That was my first, through and through competitive.
In all fairness, I'm arguing for, they do shit bans. I feel like Habib should be banned from the Fleet Network because that guy's an absolute menace.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, yeah. Don't hate the player. Hey, brother.
No,
Yeah.
I'm going to hate the player. Do you know how
He
many
is
times
incredible,
he's
man.
dev struck me? I'm going to hate him forever.
Habib takes his hybrid battleship gameplay to the next level. That is for sure.
Yeah,
Every hybrid player in this game should probably strive to at least mimic his gameplay as best they can because he's incredible.
He really is. Honestly, all of our battleship players. I think we got a little we didn't adjust quickly enough in the first game, and that was kind of our downfall. But a typical WASA fashion, right? We lose the first one. And
I was going to ask, like, what was that chat like after losing that first match? Like,
so kind of during it, after we lost Cranky and Gillis, and we kind of saw that they were heavy on whatever flank that was, the right. I wanted to make a move, but Kaiser had a great position on me on the left, the Delaware as well, and their Brindisi. That Brindisi being there, I was chunking him early on, and if we kind of could have kept that up, I definitely would have whittled him away, but unfortunately we didn't reposition. But the chat afterwards was just kind of like, all right, we dropped the first one, Trank actually kind of brought the boys back together. We were kind of talking about it, and he's like, boys, it's over. Let's just move on to the next one, and that was kind of it, so...
Yeah, in typical Wausau fashion, dropping that game 1.
so it was literally like, oh well, never mind, not because I was wondering, is it just the experience that we figured out how they play. Next match, Cranky run that wide flank, and that's it. You box them in and.
Hey, Aaron, I don't mean to put you on the spot with this one, brother, but the question did come up again, and I know Gillis and I have had conversations about it. The question did come up again.
Wait, Cenk, this is a PG stream before you start asking feet questions, right?
It's not PG ready, but it's definitely PG. Okay, like the question was. How is Wasai able to bring in Where Are You Aaron into our team? And I said, well, for all intents and purposes, he is part of our fleet. Maybe you can explain it a little bit better for everybody, just so that they're clear, like as we move forward here.
Yeah. So, I've been approached by a number of different teams. I've always been a little into the competitive side of the game. I enjoy the chess match that it is, which is probably why I get so frustrated sometimes in standard. And I've tried to have a good relationship with everyone in this game, good or bad. Cranky and I initially didn't get off on, he's very, he can be a bit
marmitey. You can say that.
Yeah.
I'm good friends with Cranky, and I was like, this guy's such a dick. And then you speak to him like, he's a dick, but I kind of like him a bit.
Yeah.
That's why I like him, because he is a dick.
Yeah.
Wait, that sounded really bad. Let me rephrase that.
He's a nice dick. No, I'm just kidding.
He's a beautiful dick.
Yeah.
Cranky, I'm sorry.
So
getting banned.
I was approached by a few teams actually, and I kind of just was like, guys, I'm not, with my busy schedule, and granted, everyone's busy. I use that excuse a lot, but everyone's busy. And finally, Habib approached me, and Habib and I have a great relationship, and he's just like, dude, you should really join our team. And I was like, okay, man, and I kind of told him the same thing. I was like, brother, I can, in case you need me for a match or two, but unfortunately, I won't have that much time. He's like, brother, we practiced one time or an hour before, you know what I mean? And that was kind of how it went. So they put me as kind of their mercenary backup, and they happened to need me for a good majority of these games, and that's how it went. So
Cool, bro.
but yeah, for all intents and purposes, I am WASA. I just haven't left my fleet because I've got a good bunch of whales in there, accumulating a bunch of oil. So it's the fleet I created when the fleet started. So that's it.
And that's the way that I tried to explain it to everybody, is that, hey, like, we can bring somebody into our fleet to play with us during these tournament games. You just have to declare them before the actual season starts, like the tournament season or whatever. But like, yeah, you still have OTE1. That is still your baby. That is still really cool. Like, and all the people that are a part of that fleet, like, be proud of the fact that you're a part of it. So
Yeah, that one's not necessarily that competitive per se, but I do. It's just kind of there to get the bonuses, honestly. But
you're
I was thinking about maybe. Yeah, a lot of people I know, and yeah, exactly. And I was thinking honestly of entering them into the Amateur Cup or whatever that was called, because the Fleet Network is
the Rookie
doing
Cup,
the Rookie Cup. Yes.
March 10th, the Rookie Cup, everybody. If your team or fleet has not been involved in one of these, hit it up. You can join. It's called the Rookie Cup. It is specifically designed for fleets that have not been a part of this craziness.
You are not going to have to fight Habib.
You won't have to fight. You won't have to fight Aaron. You won't have to fight Payne.
Oh, have you not read the internet? You don't need to...
You won't have to fight against Hivehound.
Well, haven't you read the internet? Nobody needs to worry about A1. He's terrible. Just read Reddit.
Yeah, dude.
Clearly one of the worst cruiser players we have.
Yeah. I guess it's a good thing I don't follow Reddit. I hate to see what they say about Yankonomics.
And here we go. We have Kaiser and Bartok joining us from SOA. How are you gentlemen doing? They're not talking to us.
Okay, no.
Oh, there we go.
I was muted. Hello there. Good evening.
Christ sake, Hive, you're from speak
At
German.
first, congrats to WASA, guys.
Yeah, huge congrats,
after
GG
the
guys.
first match, you did very, very well and made us a lot of trouble there.
Yeah, hey, GG's guys, you guys kicked our butt in that first one. Very good positioning, and I think all four were super competitive. That was a lot of fun. That's I can't remember the last time my heart's been pounding like that in this game, but GG's guys.
I was telling Cenk, it felt like that was an emotional roller coaster watching that, because it was like obviously Bartok, we've spoken before, it's like SOA are kind of like the new kids on the block, kind of like the underdogs. You won that first match, and then the rest of the games they were so close, and then like a couple of ships down here, a couple of ships there, and although you guys did ultimately lose, like, you guys should be so proud of your fleet, because you've come into like the most competitive scene there is, World of Warships Legends, made it to the final, the European finals, and you've beaten some really big teams on your way up as well. So like, you guys, I hope you guys feel really proud of what you've done.
Yeah. At the moment, sadness is a little bit more. But yeah, indeed, it was. We hit our targets and go further, and I was really surprised and was lucky how far we were able to go with our fleet. First international tournament, and all the matches were very cool. It was a good experience and an honor to fight Salty, Bigger Fisher, WASA and to all the. So thank you very much. Yeah. In the end, we have to be proud and
You guys were
look
incredible.
forward. But,
I can't understate that. You guys were incredible. What a run! What a fantastic run for you guys.
And like we keep on referring back to the Rookie Cup that's coming up, and like this should really be like, you guys should really be like inspiration to any team thinking about playing competitively, because you know that I know you played in the German leagues for a little while, but like you guys came into the Fleet Network and everyone now knows your name. Like anyone who doesn't know who SOA are sleeping under a rock, because you guys definitely made an impact. And
This was your rookie cup, and it was a trial by fire. I mean, incredibly done, incredibly well done.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. It means a lot for us, I think, if you guys are saying this. And yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Maybe it's even closer next time. We try.
Okay. We'll take it to game 5. I like that. Let's go. I always enjoy good competition, you know, just period in this game. Win or lose, I much prefer that than, because you hop into standard and, you know, it's like typically if you're with some friends, it's a wash one way or the other. You know what I mean? It's the game's over in 5 minutes, and you know that can be fun, you know, pub stomping sometimes, but I really like these games and just the team play aspect and the position and the chess match. So, but I'm gonna hop out here. Just wanted to say that real quick. You guys can ask them some questions. So,
Take care.
GG's boys.
thank you very much for jumping in, Mr. Aaron. So if anyone wants to
hi,
know
Jake.
where he is, he's here, but he's about to disappear.
Love you guys. Have a great day.
Take care, buddy.
GG's.
Hey Kaiser, were you streaming from the SOA standpoint?
No,
No,
I
it
was
was-
not streaming tonight. No, we had a train leader streaming for us.
Well, whoever it is, I'm very much looking forward to covering the matchup between you guys and Painkillers next week. That's going to be a great matchup. I think that is going to be really, really good. I can't wait to stream that, be a part of it.
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to make a prediction. I think that is 3-0 SOA all the way. Like, Painkillers have played well, but like SOA, like you guys have been absolutely rocking it, and you know,
It was very weird how their game 1 went down yesterday, but I think that might be a learning lesson for them, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I can't wait to cover it. Hives, if you're around for that one, I'm down for it, dude. These guys are awesome.
my wife's working next weekend, so it depends on the time. As long as the kids are in bed, I'm there. If not, I'll be in the stands, right in your chat,
Come on, brother.
holding up my SOA sign.
Yeah, no, we definitely look forward to our match next week against Painkillers, and then we'll also be very excited to watch WASA take on Hull Crushers. So we hopefully have a beautiful match to watch. You guys will hopefully give them everything.
Perfect. We hope so too. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good matchup. Both games next weekend going to be a good matchup. Everybody on the channel, everybody out there on the monitoring the Fleet Network again. The third place matchup is going to be SOA versus Painkillers, and then we are going to have a world final between WASA versus the Hull Crushers. Hulk.
Yep.
Should be good stuff. Should be good next weekend.
And it's kind of the same. So think about this. So I believe it wasn't it the Super Cup where Hulk kind of came out of nowhere and really started like dominating a lot of their matches. So you're a season behind Hulk, but they're in the final and you're doing the same. So I expect to see you in the final of the Winter Cup.
Maybe you guys get a chance to actually take your frustrations out on Yankonomics here, because I'll be joining Wausau too for the Winter Cup.
Oh, do you know what I just heard? I just heard a WASA Jenk showdown in Winter Cup.
Doubtful.
Well, I am in Salty 2. I will be one of the leading Salty 2 with Draz and the Monk into the Winter Cup, hopefully. So
Perfect. We'll make a good time of it.
we will.
Hey, boys, I'm gonna be signing off for right now. I got to go make some supper for a couple awesome kids. So thank you guys for being here, and thanks for jumping in and chit chatting with us for a little bit.
Thanks, Jank, and also a huge congratulations to your advancement for you and the WASA boys. So all the best for the next match.
Thanks, brother. You too, Rigos. Take care.
Yes.
Yeah,
thanks
take
a-
care, Mr.
thanks a lot
Jake.
for the matches.
Hive, my brother. We'll catch you soon.
Yeah, definitely. Take it easy, good sir.
Later, guys.
Yeah, but whoa. So do you know, like genuinely, lads, it was an emotional roller coaster, that whole thing for me, watching you guys win game one and then seeing it sort of flip around. Like it hurt my soul a little bit. I was really rooting for you, but you put up a really good fight against arguably the best fleet in the fleet network. So like I'm super proud. Like I'm not even in your team, and I'm super proud of what you guys have done. So what's your plans going forward? Are you coming back to the Winter Cup?
I guess so, yes. It's not 100% sure, but we will make a decision, but actually it looks like we are joining the Winter Cup.
That would be awesome. I really want to see you guys come back, and because like you played so well, you beat so many good teams. You really shook the tree, should we say, on your climb up to these finals. So like, I know it's a loss and it's sad. Nobody likes losing, but like, you guys 100% deserved your spot in that final, and I really can't wait to see more from you guys going forward. So I'm looking forward now to the Winter Cup. I might even get myself an SOA t-shirt for it.
Yeah, indeed, we have some.
Do you actually have them?
Yeah, we have stuff like that.
Send me a link. I'm going to purchase myself
I
an
can
SOA
really-
t-shirt. But so between now and Winter Cup, what's your guys' plans? Are you gonna really focus heavily on Ocean Cup for the next week in preparation of Fight Pain, or are you gonna switch your focus to looking at the Winter Cup and?
I don't know. Maybe we make two teams. One team try Winter Cup already, and we're going for the victory for the next match against Painkillers. That would be a good idea, I think. So no, we want definitely 100% win match. So we are not just staying there, being sad. We're going forward.
100%, as you should. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to have to sign off now because it's getting quite late over here, and it's getting quite late for you guys as well. I can imagine. But thank you very much for dropping in and having a chat with us. Like I said, my condolences on the loss, but like again, like hold your heads up. You guys played amazingly. You know, you're new to the tournament, and you made a real impression on a lot of people. So 100%. Should be proud, and I'm looking forward to watching you all next week in the fight for the third spot.
Thank you, Hive, and a huge thank you from all of our SOA guys for you and the casting crew that's been covering all of these wonderful matches for the TFN Ocean Cup. So thank you for taking the time to stream our games and give commentary and bringing it to the people out there. So huge thank you for that.
I super appreciate that comment, but like no, it's like thank you to you guys, because if you guys weren't out there and you guys weren't training and playing as hard as you were, it would be boring to stream, and nobody would stream, let alone watch. So like you guys are the ones that make this all possible. So
Yeah, but this streaming, that broadcasting is important too. For example, I noticed this TFN opening video from Angel Rumbo. Yeah, he's at 12k clicks, I think. Let me see. Let me see. Welcome to TFN. Yeah, he has over 12k click with this video, and you guys have many clicks too. So it's for me it's such a good job to bring this competitive gameplay to the guys out there, and I think this is absolutely good for the community and important.
yeah, it's definitely important, and like it's an honour to highlight these competitive matches and trying to bring in new fleets and stuff, because it really does add a lot to the game, and it gives it gives guys like you the opportunity to showcase some real talent, and genuinely as much as I like to compete, I almost prefer watching, because it's always so entertaining.
Definitely 100%.
Yeah. So right, so that's me done. I'm gonna sign off now. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for participating, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, as long as the time fits my schedule. If not,
Looking
like
forward
I said,
to it. Thank you, Hive.
like I said, if not, you'll see me in chat with my SOA banner cheering you guys on.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank
take
you,
care,
Hive. Have
gents.
a good one.
It's been a pleasure.
Bye.
Right, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That ends our European final. Like, as we kind of said at the beginning with Final Boss,